Hello there. Welcome to episode 113 of Radio Free Endor and Below Decks of the Skeleton Crew, where we'll be discussing the first 3 episodes of the brand new series on Disney Plus, Skeleton Crew. Now, as always, with me is Chris. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Really good. A lot has happened since we last spoke. Um, and we finally have some Star Wars TV shows to talk about.
Yeah, finally some Star Wars, and then we're all good for Star Wars. And this particular series, do you know what? I quite like it. Quite like it. But before we
Mm.
get into that, shall we discuss some other stuff? Have we got any news before we
I
go?
have loads ready to go. So let me start with this one here.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
this was something I quickly found. Um, Obviously, I just saw it on the internet, but say basically, it's just to put it simply, that wasn't a great start. We've been a bit rusty. This article is basically saying that Dave Filoni is currently still writing season 2 of Ahsoka, and he is writing it alone. It says
Yeah.
by January 2024, Lucasfilm confirmed that Filoni was actively developing the second season, coincidentally with his new role as chief creative officer at Lucasfilm overseeing future projects.
Mm-hmm.
Not much is known about the second season, but Filoni recently commented on the development of the show. Filoni shared that he's deeply involved in writing season 2 as its sole writer. While he enjoys the creative process, he
Yeah.
acknowledges that developing and resonating the story arcs has been a challenging task. I guess this is the video here. Yeah, from the
Ah.
Skies and Crew.
Okay.
But we don't need to watch it. We can just talk about it. It says, "I'm so well into it, well into that as well. I've been writing it. I'm a single writer. I'm still the single writer on it, so I'm enjoying doing that. But it's a
Mm-hmm.
challenge, of course. Working somewhat of the arcs through has been a challenge.
Yeah.
I think this is and then obviously it just says about Ray Stevenson passing away,
Yeah.
and yeah, I just wanted to really speak over this quickly, and
Mm.
I think we're about to talk about Skeleton Crew. That is the penultimate show that we saw a glimpse of at Star Wars Celebrations.
Yeah.
We saw a glimpse of Ahsoka,
Mm-hmm.
um, Mandalorian,
Yes, we
season
did.
3,
Yeah. Mm.
Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, and Andor. The very final one is the very early cuts of something from Andor.
Mm. Yeah.
And what we got about Skeleton Crew wasn't actually any footage. It was them like building one of the sets and speaking about it, saying that they were really excited for it.
Mm.
But I really have the utmost respect for Dave Filoni and what he's done for the Star Wars universe. But I am a critic as well at the same time, because moving into a role like a chief creative officer is a full-time role, and you're almost expecting to also write a whole season of a TV show
That's
by
right.
yourself
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and direct it. It's almost like I reading it, I can so easily tell how like even just from that one comment, how passionate he's always been about Ahsoka and her character and her arc.
Mm.
But now he's in this different corporate position where there's 20 other things, and he has to deal with all of them as well. And there's that question that I would say is, would it be better to have Dave Filoni step away, but to manage and
Mm.
manage more projects, or
Yeah.
very much keep their head person on one project? To me, so far. I get from the comment, I get it, wanting to do the story right.
Yeah.
But I'm unsure if it's the right. I'm unsure if he's the right person to do it necessarily. And that's not saying he wouldn't be good at it, but he needs to delegate to people he trusts,
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, speak over the high level points, but really my second, I guess, opinion is with him focusing on Ahsoka season 2, are we gonna see weaker other projects because they're not getting Dave Filoni's time?
That's very true. That is very true, because he's got a lot on his plate at the moment. He's juggling a lot of Star Wars, and he's writing, he's producing, he's directing. Plus, he's doing the Grogu, the Mandalorian, and the Grogu movie at the moment.
That one, he has Jon Favreau, who gets the beats with him.
Yeah.
So he can talk over the story and then say, John. Hopefully, he can say, John, I trust you. Go do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I almost feel that with Ahsoka, he's like, not that he doesn't trust anybody, but it's like, I'm going to write this. I'm going to be that one that's going to finish the story. You know what I mean? And it almost feels, based obviously what we've seen, everything up to this point, that it's his biggest. Ahsoka is his biggest love for all of Star Wars. And
it is, yeah, it is.
And Anakin was George's, but Ahsoka is Dave's. You know what I mean? And,
yeah. Is it just planned for 2 seasons, Ahsoka?
Don't know. We don't know.
But it'd be interesting once it kicks off, because, like I say, I watched the Patterson cut of Ahsoka, and even I thought that was good. That was a really good cut of that series. I can't wait for them to do a cut of the Acolyte, to tell the truth, but it's not on the cards yet. But I think Dave Filoni, I'd hate to see him take a step back, because I want him to, because he's Mr. Star Wars, he knows his Star Wars. But bearing in mind, he's got a lot of people that are into the woke propaganda, you could say, at the moment, still at Disney, when it comes to Star Wars, that they like to shoehorn the woke aspect into many of the Star Wars properties, even into Skeleton Crew. It's there, you can see it. But we can get past that. I believe there is still good Star Wars out there that's due to come out. I know there is, and Dave Filoni is the man. I hate to say it, I like him, and I like his shows, and I like his writing. And I can't wait for Grogu as well.
It's something that I've always been critical of, even from as soon as it was announced that he was becoming the chief creative officer, because I think that role is so important to Star Wars, but it's almost, in my mind, more important than Ahsoka. Even though I love Ahsoka to bits, you can't have your chief creative officer writing a TV show and directing a TV show when we're meant to have this universe. You know what I mean? He's playing one part in this universe. It's like if the Marvel one, I've got his name.
Kevin Feige.
Yeah, Kevin Feige was like, Avengers Endgame, everyone else has sucked. We've really ruined it. The next one, I'm gonna write that. Shouldn't you be doing like the whole other stuff? No, the whole company's now gonna be on pause because I'm gonna go write that. And I think that's a big problem. And I wouldn't be surprised if that his role as the chief creative officer is, I'd hate for it to just be a facade. to get some good publicity. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Star Wars is tanking a little. I know what we'll do. We'll promote Dave to this role, but he'll just continue doing what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it goes back to my question, like I said, that I think is quite an interesting question, and everyone can have different opinions. Is, would we rather have a great Star Wars universe or a great Ahsoka season 2? You know?
Yeah.
And which one is Dave's time better set on? You know?
Yeah,
And
that's very true. Yeah.
I'm not, and me saying that in every single way, I'm not criticizing him in any way, because I get it. He has heart for this character, and I know I would find that decision very hard, because George Lucas did. Lucasfilm was successful when he made episode 1, 2, and 3.
Very true.
Successful.
Very true.
And he still went, I'm going to direct them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting. What's your thoughts on it when I put up the next set?
When it comes to it, I want great Star Wars, but I also want a great season 2 of Ahsoka. But there again, Ahsoka TV series is made for people like you and me that have watched Rebels, that know about Ahsoka. People who don't know, who've never watched the cartoons, it was pointless to them. You know what I mean? Because they just did not know what was going on. Who was this person? Who was that person? They should have done an almighty preview episode before Ahsoka, saying everything you need to know before you watch Ahsoka. But luckily for us, we've got it. We know about it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a great season 2 of Ahsoka.
Yeah, I am too, and I hope, if I could hope anything, is that Ahsoka season 2 is everything Dave would want it to be.
Agree.
Because I trust Dave with everything. I just really ponder the question of, is a legendary season 2 of Star Wars of Ahsoka better than making every average TV show great? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like bumping every TV show up by 2-3 points versus Ahsoka being a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think as fans, it's so easy to always just think about the finished product.
Yeah.
We can't forget that these are like businesses, and money has to be allocated, roles have to be allocated. It takes a lot to film and do all them things. And I think that brings us well into our second article, also about Ahsoka, from Collider, is that production is set for 2025 for season 2.
Oh, yeah.
So Ahsoka season 2 will be officially relocating to the United Kingdom, with filming slated to begin in April 2025. The move to the UK for Ahsoka signals a departure from the methods used for the first season, which was entirely filmed on Los Angeles cutting-edge volume sets in the Manhattan Beach studios. The volume stage technology developed with Industry Light and Magic uses wraparound LED screens. This obviously isn't surprising news when they said all this, but I think what's really interesting, as someone pointed out, was with Ahsoka being moved to the UK, no Star Wars is being filmed in the US at this point.
Yeah,
because I think Skeleton Crew was filmed in the UK.
Some of it was. I think some of it was, because most of it was filmed on the volume.
Yeah. And I think it's quite interesting. The reason that I thought this article was very interesting was to back what we just said about Dave Filoni writing the story by himself. If it's true that they are going to be starting filming in April 2025, we're only 3 months away from that.
Yeah.
And the pressure to write this script, and think you're going to be starting filming in 3 months. What about the set design? What about the everything? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're very much moved away from George Lucas blue screen of everything, you know.
Yes.
And it was still legendary for its time.
Yeah.
But they could pretty much work out a lot of stuff in post when with the volume and everything is very different these days. But overall, I am excited for a season 2 of Ahsoka.
I am as well.
And I just want Dave Filoni to, if anything, write the story he wants to write, but then maybe not direct it. Go back, let other people you trust have their hand. And the thing is, he knows he's done that for so long with Rebels and Bad Batch. You know, he moved on from directing the Bad Batch with other people directing them. So he's done that with animated, but it almost feels like that chance of reality, but like now you're making silver screen movies.
Yeah.
It's almost like he did animated for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But then only did actual movies for 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
And now he's almost transcended that already, and that's what I think. When I think of him as like this chief creative officer, it's what's the Star Wars story? How can I pump it to be 10 out of 10 and put all the right resources behind it? And sometimes you have to give up your projects, to see them get there. But
that's very true.
Like I said, I'd rather Ahsoka be a 7 out of 10, but every other TV show go from 5 out of 10 to 7 out of 10 as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
just
what you mean.
it evenly across them all.
I agree.
But yeah, do you have an article next?
Yes, I have. Now, Warwick Davis is not happy. He's a little bit upset, you could say. Now, and one of the news come up on Fantatracks, and it says with the 1988 original film Willow heading back to 4K Blu-ray on the 16th of December, I'll probably buy that actually because I really do like Willow. It's understandable that star Warwick Davis would reminisce not only on the film, but the Disney Plus series in 2022, which ran for 8 episodes from 30th of November 2022 until its cancellation and removal from Disney Plus platform on May the 26th, 2023. And he posted on X, and he made his dissatisfaction quite apparent. So, Warwick Davis. So he says he sent this tweet out on X. This image just come up as a photo memory, a behind the scenes shot from the Willow series. It's a travesty that at Disney Plus value shareholders over subscribers in their creative decision making. Hashtag just saying. And I only ever saw each episode once. What? You only ever saw the episodes once? To be fair, I didn't even finish it because it was utter garbage. It really was utter garbage. And I don't blame Disney for getting rid of it because it is just trash. But Warwick Davis is brilliant as Willow Offgood. And unfortunately, Willow, the series, suffered from proper wokeism. And it was just garbage. They could have made it into one of the best TV shows, but they just had no respect for the original story and just crapped all over it. So for him to be angry about it, I can understand it because he's a part of it. He gets to be fair, he gets money for every time it's shown, and when it's not on Disney Plus, he's not getting nothing for it, absolutely nothing. So I can understand why he's a little bit upset. What do you reckon, Chris?
I've never watched the original Willow or the Willow series, so I don't have an opinion on how they are.
Yeah.
But I think that we are now living in a world where we do not own the content that we watch. You know, if there was ever
Yeah.
a call for like a resurgent in like Blu-rays and high digital media, this would be the reason why, because no one can take your DVD.
That's
It's
right.
like it's like 28 days later is on no streaming platforms.
Yeah,
So,
I heard about that.
yeah.
That you cannot stream it anywhere. It is not available to watch anywhere, which is surprising. For the simple fact is, now the trailer's just dropped for 28 days. We'll probably talk about it actually, and nobody can watch the original too. It's very
Well,
strange.
no. You can watch it. I bet you can
Let's have a look. Where?
pay for it, you know?
Hmm.
Like on Amazon. Yeah, you can pay for it. I think. But maybe you can't
Later,
actually.
28 days later, where to watch? Let's just where to watch. So, currently, the only legal way to watch 28 days later is by acquiring a second-hand physical copy. However, Sony has now hinted the much-loved film will soon be available digitally. That was 12 hours ago on the Independent news. Let's have that. So it says there currently. Is that it? Is that their entire story there?
Yeah. Well, that's looking at the main websites there.
It has remained unavailable for sites for years due to rights issue. The film was produced and distributed by Fox Searchlight Pictures, which is now owned by Disney. However, the rights to 28 Days Later are owned by Sony, who won a bidding war for 28 years later in February. The film follows on from another sequel 28 weeks later, which was released in 2007. Right, okay. Unlike the very first film in the series, which has a modest budget of just 8 million, the new sequel has 75 million pounds spent on it. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's surprising. What, you can't get it anywhere.
But that's the thing with all these things where, if you had the Blu-ray copy, you could easily watch it, but sometimes it's harder to get than anything else.
Yeah.
So my personal opinion on it is it sucks for the people that actually enjoyed it. I know what you're saying about like what your opinions are on it, but the world is big enough that there would have been some absolute diehards that watched it weekly. And
yeah,
sucks for them.
It does. Yeah, it does. Let me just remove that from the thing. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. There is some people out there. They are out there that love the TV series. It was made for them, which we know it was. And unfortunately, you can't see it. Maybe one day they'll bring it out on Blu-ray, but I generally do understand where Warwick Davis has come from on this one, because believe me, if it was on the streaming site, I wouldn't watch it, but at least it's there for other people to watch it, which is the important thing. Why delete it? It doesn't make no sense to spend all that money making it. Why delete it? Unless it's no longer canon, or it's just been wiped from the memory. So technically, it never existed. So if they want, they could go back and perhaps make a new film or a new series and totally disregard the series. Perhaps they want to go down that route. But like I say, some people like it, so why not keep it just for them to watch? I mean, I can't understand it. And plus, Paul Warwick Davis, so we could watch it again. Maybe had no mates that would record it for him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about the world, is that there one day, gone the next, and especially with like catalogs like Netflix and all these things where so many things get cancelled or moved to priors, and it's a constant battle. But with all these things, will it ever return? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
I've got another article ready to go.
Okay. Let's go.
So from the Hollywood Reporter, Disney and Lucasfilm has revealed that the animated anthology series Star Wars Visions is coming back for a third season in 2025. This was announced on their 2-day content showcase event in Singapore. Volume 3 will return to Japan with 9 new animated shorts from animated studios across the country. The Japanese studios include David Productions, Kamazaki Duga Plus Anime, Kinetic Citrus, Polygon Pictures, Production IG, Production Studios Q, Trigger, and Wit Studio. I'm still sleeping on Star Wars Visions. I've still not watched season 2.
Weren't that good? Season 2 was not that good in my eyes.
But yeah, it released all the way back in 2021, the first season, and volume 2 was May 2023. But yeah, an interesting story overall. Should we see what we got next? So I've got a few more.
Star Wars content.
We have this one. So
this is a weird story. This one. Is it now? Is he
Jedi.
a warlord or is he a CGI Jabba the Hutt?
So Star Wars Mandalorian and Grogu movie has added the Bear star Jeremy Allen White in the role of Jabba the Hutt's son, Rotter the Hutt. Deadline has confirmed it's a notable sized role. No cameo here.
Yeah.
Big fat snake-like intergalactic crime boss. This is interesting because they're writing it to non-Star Wars fans. Boss Jabba doesn't have any human sons, and if he did, well, that's a first. Let's assume White is voicing the character, the creature, relative of Jabba the Hutt, and has appeared through Star Wars series, Book of Boba Fett, Episode 1, Phantom Menace. White joins already cast Pedro Pascal, who plays Mando, Ghostbusters actress Sigourney Weaver. Jon Favreau directs and co-writes with Dave Filoni. The movie is due to hit theaters May 22nd, 2026. Favreau and Filoni dropped footage from the movie back at D23 in August at the Honda Center in Anaheim. That footage showed off Bobo Frink returning and a snowy planet that looked like Hoth from 1980s Empire Strikes Back, complete with huge AT-AT teams stomping around. For those who forgot that those four-legged armored machines the bad guys have, also starring is the first feature take of a Disney Plus series in the red alien pointy-eared Zeb from the animated series. Yeah.
Cool.
So this is a very interesting article.
It's weird.
Part of
but
me,
I'd be interested.
Part of me very much thinks about Dune and the God King. Wormside became a worm. Well, that's an interesting question.
Right. I've got one. I've got another story.
Yeah. Well, before we move on.
Yeah, go on.
Do you think he's just going to be the voice?
Yes.
Or he's going to be the voice in the mocap, I guess, standing there wiggling his arms.
Unless they're going to get him in one of them blow up Jabba the Hutt Halloween outfits. You've seen them? The little blows them up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, interesting. What you don't know is Disney's going to be like, every hut you've seen from Huttese at this point has been fat and obese. Now we're gonna show you a sexy Huttese. Here he comes. Here's
Yeah. Do you know what?
Here's Rod of the Hut.
I always wanted him to play Gene Wilder. I thought he would have been such a good pick as Willy Wonka, because he looks just like Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Right, I've got one, because we'll have to move on because time's getting on. Right, ready?
Yeah.
So the Black Series Skeleton Crew it's either been leaked or they've been outed, you could say. So we've got so far we've got Wim, Neil, Fern, and KB. These figures are all on the Black Series. They look pretty damn good, to be fair. I love Neil. I think he looks amazing. The little blue sort of elephant kind of creature. Don't know what I don't even know what species he is, to be fair. But I know he's not the same species as Max Rebo. I know he's not that. Somebody else. Yeah. But you've got the boxes here, the box artwork. Again, it's very generic. It looks just like all the other Star Wars Black Series crew. But they do come with accessories. So, what's her name? Fern. So Fern comes with a torch and a backpack. Neil. Oh, what's his name? Yeah, Neil comes with what looks like a torch. Looks like a frog and a radio in his backpack. KB, another torch and a backpack. And this one's interesting, actually. You got what's his name?
Wim.
Wim seems to have a radio, a spanner, and of course his torch. Is it like a makeshift lightsaber? So they've each got flashlights, you could say, and which you can put in their backpacks, which look totally cool. Look at that. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Little spanner there, little thing, the control of that. I like these figures. I can't wait to get my hands on some. Actually, I think they look pretty damn good. Good sculpts on them, very good sculpts. But I do know, if I go back when I was searching for it, there was some pictures of Jude Law's character. So there's one there. So this is in the we'll just do that. Like the Kenner. This is the Kenner ones. Jod Narwood. And he comes with a scarf, if I remember rightly. Let's have a look there. There it is. Comes with his little scarf and his gun. Now I do know they're bringing out. Oh yeah, so that's 3 3/4, and then they're bringing out the slightly bigger one, the bigger Black Series figure. But I do know they're also bringing out the droid, SM33, and also quickly there, of course, Pop Figures are bringing out the Skeleton Crew as bobbleheads. Can't stand these bobbleheads. Why bring Star Wars figures out as bobbleheads apart from license deals? Apparently only Hasbro have got the license to make a figure. Now if these weren't on, to get round the rights issue, they have to make them as a bobblehead, so they're stuck on a platform and the reds bobble, and that's the only way they can the Pop Figures can make them. Because if you notice, on the entire range of Pop Figures, it's only the Star Wars ones that are not classed as action figures. They're classed as bobbleheads.
Interesting fact.
Interesting
fact. So, I think we were talking about Skeleton Crew. I think it's
hold on. I've got something else as well.
You got one more?
Yes. I just, before we get on to the Skeleton Crew, I do want to talk about that 28 years later trailer, because for the simple fact is, it's been so long. It has been a massively long time. And Do you know? I hate to say it, that they missed a beat, not bringing out a third one at the time called 28 Months Later, because then the trailer would have said weeks become days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years, and they would have filled it. But like we said, it's about the licensing, to do with the licensing, should I say. And also with the trailer, it's a very good trailer. I have to say, it's highlights everything you need about the film. A lot of people think Cillian Murphy. You see Cillian Murphy and as a zombie. No, you don't. It's not him. I can tell you now, it's not him. But it's got overshadowed by this voice called Boots, 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 which was by Rudyard Kipling, written in 1905 or something, about the constant marching of the infantrymen. And I liked it. Do you know what? The trailer, I liked it a lot. What did you reckon?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I would say I've gone off my love for zombie things. Maybe I'll refine that over time. Maybe it was because all the hype was around always like The Walking Dead and everything that really popularized zombie stuff. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting trailer, and doesn't really reveal much of the story. You know, I think the problem with any zombie thing is it always goes back to The Walking Dead. Of sooner or later, you no longer fear the zombies, you fear the living.
Yes, it is basically, you're dead right on there. You got to be careful of the living more than the dead. But with the 28 days, they're not zombies. They're infected. It's the infected with the rage virus, or as we like to call it, corona. But yeah, it's very interesting. Comes out next year. The posters are so good for it, which was just released here. That one was a great one, and they filmed up the road from me, in one of the old stadiums that's been abandoned for years. They filmed up here in Bradford, for, I don't think for this film, but for the next one, because this is a brand new trilogy that's coming out. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Go on then, Chris. Let's move on.
Let's move on to the main deal of why we're here.
Aye, so that brings us to the end of the news section and on to Below Decks of The Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus. So we've had the first 3 episodes. They played the first 2 episodes together back to back, and then we just had the 3rd episode play here in the UK yesterday. And I watched them like everyone else did, and I was sold. I was absolutely sold with it. So let's go back onto Wikipedia for Skeleton Crew. So the Skeleton Crew is a series that was created by John Watts and Christopher Ford for Disney Plus, and it stars Jude Law as a series as the series lead, should we say, with 4 kids, with Nick Frost as well doing the voice of SM-33, which is Smee. You know what I mean? There's another pirate thing for you, pirate name there. It's produced by Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and Catherine Canada. Yeah, and it's premiered on December the 2nd, 2024. Now, the premise is 4 children end up on an adventure to make their way after being lost in the galaxy following a discovery they make on their home planet. Now, really interesting what this is now. And the way it starts off is very much like A New Hope, with the stars, a planet, and a ship coming past you, which gets boarded by pirates. And the captain is Captain Silvo, not Long John Silver, but Captain Silvo, which we know it's Jude Law. And basically, they're looking for credits, and they find just one, and he gets mutiny. as they like to say, and he gets captured by his own crew and thrown into pirate jail, you could say. And meanwhile, on this planet At-Atin, it seems to be very, very tranquil. It looks like suburbia, American suburbia, but in the far future. It looked great. What did you think to it, Chris? Just the look of of At-Atin.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's is refreshing, I guess, to see something different in Star Wars. But then it is slightly jolty when it's like there's suburbia hell in Star Wars universe as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I really like it, you know. And what I mean by like it is not everyone lives in apartments in Coruscant, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or things in these kind of houses would exist out there somewhere. It feels very so far the story feels very much wrote from the end forward, not forward to the back. Because they've set up many mysteries and they know the answers, but we don't, you know, very much. And that's really interesting. It's like, why is Atin like this? You know, one of the
what
things
is the great work? Well, because the teachers are talking about the great work that's happening here, and all the kids are being trained at a very early age for what their future careers are going to be as well.
Yeah, and what I think is really interesting about this is from what I've seen of Atin, like, does it really remind me of like the Goonies or things like that? Not really, but it reminds me of the Truman Show a lot more. It's like everything is kind of planned. You know, there's a barrier that people can't cross, and we'll definitely go on to more about Atin going forward. But this episode really sets up the kids. You know, it sets up Wim having a crush on Fern, and KB and her mother saying about like her medical things. Sorry, no, I think that's in episode 2. Taking risks. The girls are taking risks when the boys are just trying to be boys. It feels very normal. Too normal. Too human for Star Wars, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's what I liked about it was from the get-go, loved the design of his houses and the apartments and everything like that. And did you notice all the cars ran on rails?
Yeah.
So it was like, so they've got an internal power source. They do have speeder bikes. The kids have their own speeder bikes, and credits are just handed out like pocket money, where those credits on another planet are worth a lot more money. I mean, are worth a lot of money. Now, straight off the mark, Wim has got a fascination about Jedis. He's got a book that he keeps reading all the time about Jedis and Jedi temples and stuff like that. And it's through this connection of wanting an adventure to help people to be like a Jedi that leads him onto this adventure where he misses his school bus, decides to take a shortcut, falls down a gully, finds a doorway. Where's this doorway lead to? We don't know at the time, but it's very much like that to me. It's very much like Goonies, very much like Explorers by Joe Dante, very much like Explorers. They built a ship in a gully, with 4 friends, and they decided to explore the galaxy with this makeshift ship. Some beats as well to the last Starfighter. It's very, very much. There's a hell of a lot of remember berries, especially for my age. Even Nicholas, to be fair, because Nicholas is growing up with Goonies. There's a lot of references to Goonies. There's even some musical notes references to the Goonies when you see something that's important, which is going to explain a bit later on. Now, the one of the girls, Fern, she's like the Han Solo of the group, you could say. She's very much into talking tall tales, making lies about stuff, and tricks the lads, because the lads want to be lads. They just found something they want to explore, where she really wants to just rip it apart and take what they need. But they get on board. Oh, and with KB, she's got these cybernetic implants that can allow her to connect with the ship. And it's at that point that when they get in the ship, they find out it's a ship. It's not a Jedi temple, which Wim thought it was. Now, that whole sequence of them waking the ship up, I thought was great. It was like, don't touch nothing. As kids will do. Don't touch that. I'm not. And then they touch it. Even KB woke up the machine by smacking it, the drive system. And then the ship turned. I loved how, the whole launching of the ship was just brilliant, because the grass and everything got pulled up. The ship turned around, flipped over, and then it shot off into space. Now, this great barrier, the great barrier that covers this planet. Now, there's been a lot of planets in the Star Wars history in the books that are hidden. They've been deliberately hidden away. So to do great work, Exegol is one of those planets that was hidden. At-Atul is another one. So I think At-Atul, it could be At-Atin, sure we could say. I think that's the money planet. I reckon that is the wealth that they're talking about is literally money that's been squandered away onto this planet, knowing that at some point they're going to come back to it because they need money for the Galactic Republic. But unfortunately, it's been forgotten. Now, the kids even reference in the episode that's just passed, they said they're familiar with Alderaan and they mentioned and Coruscant. I don't think they know that Alderaan is that was blown up. I think that's new news to them. I think they're so hidden away, and the kids, remember, think this planet is boring. It's the most boringest planet ever. There's just nothing to do. But now, fortunately for us, they're on a high adventure, and when they go to this, then they wake up, of course, SM-33, voiced by Nick Frost, who does a very good pirate's voice, Captain, and he's walking around. I tried to chuck these people out of the airlock. Great. I loved it. I thought he was great. And he's like a K2SO droid that it's slumped over, but when it needs to, it can stand up and be quite tall and defend itself and defend its crew. And there's, when they went over to the pirate cove, you could say, and all the different ships and that, and the different aliens, man, my eyeballs were going left and right, trying to keep up with the amount of aliens in this place. It was unbelievable. And of course, that's where they met Jude Law's character that's in prison. Now, I loved this introduction with him because the kids the kids have been locked away in their prison as well, and they need to get out. The key's there, and they get their rat to get the key, but it doesn't. It just takes a whiz and buggers off. And Jude Law's character comes in and he says something on the lines of the distance between us and the key is purely figments of
perception.
Perception. And then the key floats to him, and you see him on the third episode. You actually see them escaping, and he does Jedi tricks. So, and they even ask him at one point, "Are you a Jedi?" And he goes, "Well, I didn't really say I was, but he's definitely got the Force in him." So, I think, Chris, that he was like training to be a Jedi and like a Padawan. And of course, when the Great Purge happened, he skedaddled out. What do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah. I think. Sorry, I have a really bad headache right now. As well. So I'm a bit slow on thinking, but I really like the introduction to Jude Law, and um, I'm glad that they didn't hide that he was a Jedi
Mm,
because they said it at Star Wars celebrations. He was like, came on stage, he was like, yeah, the other person there was like, yeah, and you got a big secret. What is that big secret? Well, I've always wanted to play a Jedi. Thanks, Jude Law. I guess you're playing a Jedi then.
yeah, he is, yeah.
But yes, I don't think he's technically a Jedi in the universe because the Jedi is more like a religion than
Mm,
um, being able to wield the Force, as Matt Kanata says. That wielding the Force comes in many variants. So I thought that one of the interesting questions that comes up is if he could escape all along, why didn't he escape sooner?
mm,
Like, he didn't have a ship. He didn't
mm.
have the Black Pearl.
No,
You know?
no boots.
No
No
boots.
boots.
And
Funny enough,
there's
the Black Pearl, the ship is actually called the Onyx Cinder, which could be is like a black pearl. Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of references to even like Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean with like the
Mm,
keys hanging up and the animal. And I think it was quite interesting. And um, what I thought was really exciting about this episode is like all the things we do as a kid. One of the things that we don't have much of is perception of danger.
mm.
You know, like, oh, this is a really dangerous place. Da 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 da. Everything is
Yeah.
fine. You know what I mean? It's like, and that woman, there's a woman character that comes up to them. It's like, you guys are not meant to be here. Like, this is not a safe place. You know, for
Her
adults.
species renowned for kidnapping people in the
Yeah,
Clone Wars. Yeah.
yeah. This is not a safe place. You guys need to um get going. Borgo Prime was where they was at.
Mm,
And I thought it was really interesting with like all the different things. You could really see the details of the sets, and I thought that was really cool.
mm,
Really return to um classic Star Wars, with actual real aliens,
mm,
and the real ones blend very well with the CGI enhanced ones.
mm, mm.
Um, and I think, yeah, the interesting part was when they started fighting, and SM 33 does know how to fight, and he knows how to fight dirty.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's got these two shields that actually um,
Heats
go
up.
glow red and burn. They can burn. Yeah, he's really, really good. Good for. But it's basically Treasure Planet, Disney's Treasure Planet. Now, I like that movie. It's an animated movie. And I've always thought, why do they not make a live action version of that? And this is basically that Treasure Planet. Um, I have to agree with you, Chris. I know this filmed on the volume because you can tell because people can't run as far, if you know what I mean. But I loved it. I just thought the look of that port was beautiful, and the designs of all the ships that was outside are also fantastic. 'Cause I know you've got an headache.
Sorry, it's not that I don't want to talk. I really want to talk and talk about it, but
Mm.
it's almost like it's really bad. So I feel like I'm trying to say how I feel. I'm like,
Yeah.
not coming out well. But what really excites me about this TV show is the same thing that makes me not very excited. Is that thing of like, where's it going? We don't know. We always talk about having different Star Wars, better Star Wars, different stories. This is very much that, you know. Every time, like when we was on Borgus Prime, or the moon that we see in episode 3, I'm like, yeah, this is Star Wars. But then you go back to Ad Aston, and you're like, this doesn't feel like Star Wars. This feels like a weird something, you know what I mean? And it's obvious why it's like that. Like watching the Truman Show, first time you're like, why is all this stuff happening? But then when you get it and you watch it the second time, you're like, oh, it all makes sense. You know what I mean? Of why everything is like that. And I think the Skeleton Crew was a story that was wrote back to front, not front to back. And hopefully all these questions pay off as we go further into it. Like, why is that ship there? Jude Law's character does not own that ship. That is not his ship.
No, it's not.
Because he walks around not like he owns it, but like he knows about it. Was he set up of the heist in the episode 1? You know?
Yeah.
Why do these kids have old Republic credits that look mint condition? You know, when they're no longer being used anymore. Where are they actually from? I also thought it was very funny that the hyperdrive computer couldn't tell where it came from. You know, so
it's very Old Republic, that ship, isn't it? It's very, it's like the Razor Quest. It's Republic, and that's why it could escape the barrier, because it's got no effect to the barrier.
Well,
the ship.
If I've learned anything in Star Wars, the ships like the Millennium Falcon, Razor Crest, etc., they really don't make them like they used to until you hit them with a orbital bombardment.
Yeah, an orbital bombardment. Yeah. So I just want to just before we go, because we are limited to time anyway. We could get into the episode 3, because to me they should have played episode 1, 2, and 3 together. Because it feels episode 1, 2, and 3 feels like one whole movie. Do you know what I mean? From start to finish, and when they actually escape with Jude Law's character. Now,
and we have already been talking about it, to be fair, because it all kind of like blends together.
Yeah. I'd loved how he managed to jump into hyperspace to escape the port with the fuel line connected, and it had such a mighty rip back straight through the base. Thought it was great. But some Easter eggs, if you keep an eye out, that come online, is if you look closely, you can see the Star Tours vehicle ship that's also part there. So guaranteed that this port will be featured in Star Tours at some point. And so there's one of these little flying little creatures with little bitty wings. Well, that was from Captain EO with Michael Jackson from many moons ago, another George Lucas property. There's so much to see, so much to look at. It's beautiful. And even towards the creature, the owl creature at the end of episode 3, I'm trying to think what her name is.
Her name is Kalim.
Yeah, Kalim. She refers to Captain Silver as Crimson Jack, which appeared in a comic as well as a tie-in to the hotel, to the Star Wars hotel. He appeared in them too. So there's a lot to unpack with this, especially that, like you say, Jude Law, this is not his ship, and he loves walking around, pulling on bits, finding out what's this, what's that. And Smee knows what he's all about. He's following him around, and he warns him off as well, doesn't he? But like always, he's now made a deal with the kids that they're in charge, and he's just there to help them. So we'll see where it goes. And of course, they got chased by chased by some X-wings, and when Kim was asked by these X-wing pilots, Commander Kent of Blue Squadron, she says, "If I told you, you wouldn't believe me." So that makes me think that AT-ATing is a myth. So I can't wait. It's a bit like Hitchhiker's Guide. There was I think a planet that was hidden in that as well. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I also think that the ship is a mythological ship as well, like the Black Pearl. I thought it was very interesting when Wim starts shooting at X-wings and he hits on them. It's like you're like, yeah. Oh wait, no, you're not meant to cheer for that. He's a child. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, shooting. Yeah, you're shooting the good guys. Yeah, let's shoot them down.
I was just a child. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
And,
I thought it was really good.
I did think it was good that it wasn't Carlton Tucker in a bloody X-wing.
Do you know what I was thinking? It was. I was thinking, is it Dave Filoni and Carlton?
Yeah, because if it was does the New Republic only have 2 goddamn X-wing pilots?
Yeah,
you know,
just the 2. Yeah,
we do the whole.
We do the whole sector just this 2. Yeah,
yeah, literally. Yeah. But I thought it was really interesting, and obviously, you know, there's some things that have been quickly revealed, like the parents are obviously taking part in this job. Wim's dad very much seems like not like he doesn't care for his child, but very indifferent to a lot of things. And with Thurn's mum is under precinct or something, so someone quite high. And I think, you know, they're gonna have a journey themselves of it is in surely we can save our kids. And you know, the system is saying no, they're gone. You know, they got out the zone.
They're gone. Forget them. They're dead.
Yeah.
And it's very, very telling that all these robots on AT-ATing look like security cameras. You know what I mean?
And they look very different to very typical Star Wars. And it's even like the driver of the school bus was the same as Star Tours. So
yeah, Rex.
Quite an old robot type. So something happened that diverged this world. I wonder if it was the New Republic, the Old Republic side, or the world itself. Something that I was like thinking of like during it is almost this thing of like is AT-ATing the like the treasure planet for all the stolen like money from like the Empire.
Yeah,
but they're pretending they're the New Republic because they were they were pretending they were Republic because the planet knows them as the Republic, and they're like, yeah, stick all the money here, you know, all this stolen stuff like from many worlds.
First Order need money. Where did the First Order get their money? And you know, where does the cloning for somehow Palpatine came back? Of course,
exactly.
You've got to do a lot of gymnastic, mental storytelling to make those messes link up to the Star Wars universe,
and not just say like the banking clan had control. You know what I mean? And I definitely think is there actually knowledge? Because some people have said it's like an AI, like the planet has an AI or something like that. And then Star Wars doesn't really have AI. Like robots, droids can think for themselves, but they're not like, I want to be a human. I have the same rights as a human. So I don't think it's more like that. I definitely think it's more on the lines of stolen treasure, where the good guys are maybe not the good guys, or there's something else that the bad guys pretend to look like the good guys, or
Yeah.
coercion, or something. But it'd be funny if it was all something different. But we will see. And that's
We'll
why I
see.
keep saying I feel like it's a story that's wrote from the back to the front, not
Yeah.
front to back.
Yeah.
But we will see.
It is, yeah. So the next episode, which is on December the 17th, is directed by the two Daniels that won an Oscar for the time traveling film
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
All at Once, yes. And Pocket Knife Guy, Swiss Army Knife Guy as well. So that should be quite interesting to see the next episode of that on the 17th. So we'll be recording on the 18th, the day after that. And then we've got an episode on the 24th of December. Now, I've got a sneak up a feeling that because Chris, you're going to be with me, we will do excuse me, we'll probably watch it together and then sort of like get together in our studio right here, me and Chris, and we'll talk about that episode, perhaps maybe that day or literally Boxing Day for that one. Okay.
Yeah, very much so.
That's cool.
Great.
So they were the 3 episodes. Just in case you want to know, the first episode was called This Could Be a Real Adventure. The second episode was called Way, Way Out Past the Barrier. And the third episode was called Very Interesting as an astrogation problem. That's it.
Yeah.
Very good. Right. So anyway, so that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for joining us on Radio Free Endor. We hope you've enjoyed immersing yourself in the galaxy far, far away, and stay with us. Stay connected with us on social media. Be part of our vibrant community. Search for Radio Free Endor on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay up to date on our latest episodes, discussions, exciting news. If you want to dive deeper with Star Wars with us, send your thoughts, comments, and questions to radiofreeendor@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow me, Jamie_R_Burns on Twitter, and you can follow Chris at
Burn Chris. Thanks
Great.
so much.
And we'll love to hear from you and have a galactic chat. For all you super fans out there, head over to TeePublic and get your hands on official Radio Free Endor merchandise, whether it's t-shirts, hoodies, masks, stickers, keyrings, mouse mats. We've got you covered. Show off your love for the show and look ultra cool while doing so. Remember, iTunes is still the place to go to download our show. So make sure you leave us a fantastic 5-star review. And that means a lot to us, and we can carry on making fantastic Star Wars content. Once again, thank you for tuning in to Radio Free Endor. May the force be with you. And we look forward to bringing you more thrilling adventures from the galaxy far, far away. So, see you later, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon in about a week's time. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.